So good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of Meet the Judge. I hope everybody had a safe and happy new year. Before I get into our interview, I would just like to mention that we lost a very good friend in Irish Dogs this week, Virginia Doughty. Virginia was a very good friend to Irish Dogs, an active member of the Bichon Breeds Association. She never came to the club show empty-handed, and indeed arranged sponsorship for the shows. Her passion was bolognese and havanese, and she brought these breeds to the fore both here and all over the world, from the UK to Gibraltar. Indeed, I had the pleasure of giving her beautiful havanese Best in Show last year. She fought her illness bravely, in spite of also losing her partner only last year. But she never let it stop her doing what she loved, and that was showing dogs. Virginia will be missed by many, many people, but not least Julie and Paul Connolly, who I know will be devastated at the moment. We send our condolences to her family and her friends, and rest in peace, Virginia. And we've lost yet another name in Irish Dogs, which is very sad, and not COVID related, I might add. Having said that, my guest tonight needs no introduction to anybody in Ireland, anybody in the UK, and indeed anybody in the world. I think Carlos has probably acted as substitute judge in Ireland on many, many occasions when somebody hasn't shown up and the phone rings and Carlos comes to the rescue. He is respected worldwide. He is a superb judge, superb with the exhibitors, always humorous, a great breeder, great exhibitor, and as I say, widely respected throughout the world. And it's my great pleasure to be interviewing Carlos Saevich. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Carlos.
Don't worry, whatever you pronounce would be okay.
Because my Argentinian is not very good.
Oh, no, it's not an Argentinian name anyway.
Okay. How are you?
Well, I'm okay, yeah. I'm not suffering much the virus because I live in the country. I mean, I can go for walks around without danger of being catched. Yeah, I'm coping well. Coping well.
And we have in Ireland have gone into full lockdown this weekend, and the UK, of course, are suffering really, really badly.
Oh yes, and our area where I am is one of the worst.
Really?
Oh yes. It's about the 9th place in the list at worst.
Wow.
Oh no, it's really bad. We are very close to London, you see, and London is very, very bad. But as I say, I'm okay. I in a year, still all right.
And how much are you missing shows?
I'm missing the shows, but I'm getting old too.
Aren't we all?
And my last dog, the one that is at the moment barking next to me, she doesn't like me to going away.
Okay.
And I don't like me going away and leave her. And the cat that is like a dog. Oh yeah. She goes. The cat comes with the dog, with the Shih Tzu, with me. We go for walks around. I don't laugh because it's true. People look and they can't believe it, but they see her following me like there was another dog. And I turn back and she turned back. And when I go away, she spends the time sitting in the windowsill waiting for me to come back, the cat.
Really?
It's like a dog. As I say, it's. I think I've done a lot of judging, and it's the time now to start to slow down.
Okay. Never.
I guess if you know my age, you will understand why.
Are you looking forward to the vaccine rollout?
Yes, really, yes. Yeah, because I'm quite a social person and I don't like the idea of being confined. I mean, I can't be on my own. I like to go out. I like to go for a meal sometimes. I like to go to shows. I like to, and obviously this year I had to cancel appointment judging. And I was going to Colombia the day before they closed the borders everywhere. I mean, and it's supposed I was going this year, but I say I'm not going without the vaccine. And the show is in March. I mean, I think hopefully I will go next year. I would like to go because I understand it's a very good show, and I have family in Colombia that I would like to see it. You know?
And do you think shows will start this year in the UK?
Oh, I think they will. Oh, well, yes, because somehow with the vaccinations and the measures, I think they will start because they started with some small shows, club shows. I find it, I still don't know exactly how will you keep the distance. With dogs that had to be judged on the table. What you say to the owner, leave the dog. I look after your dog. I don't know how they are, what the protocol is.
They do seem to be managing in Eastern Europe, and I know America have been running shows where everybody is just wearing masks.
But that means, can they go over the dogs? Because I can't see how can you go over a Shih Tzu if you can't touch under the body and what is under the coat, and the owner has to move away for me to have the space to do it. No?
Yes, I know it is going to be very difficult, and perhaps maybe they should start off with small club shows first.
Yeah, right. I had one on my appointment that it was cancelled for last year, and it's now this year in July. I don't know either the parent Shih Tzu club show. And will I be able? That's why I mentioned how you do with the table dog. I mean, I could have the Doberman, or without much problem without one. But
German Shepherds.
Yeah, the country dog is difficult.
Yes. So, Carlos, you're as everyone knows, Argentinian. Did you have dogs as you were growing up? Were your parents involved in dogs?
No, well, we had a dog. As far as I remember, the first dog was a Dachshund, long-coat Dachshund red dog. When I was a child, about 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
And after we had 2 or 3 mongrels for a few years. Then my sister went to the States to live, and she came back with 2 Bedlingtons.
Bedlingtons?
2 Bedlingtons, yeah. There were no Bedlingtons in Argentina. And somebody from the club, the dog club, they saw me walking with the 2 Bedlingtons, and they came out of the bus and stopped me and asked me to show the dogs, no? I really didn't want it. The first 2 or 3 shows, I was really bored to death. I promise you. I'm thinking, can I go now? Because they were the only 2 that means you will win best of breed. No? You have to stay for the group. And suddenly, we had a litter, and they weren't special, but they managed, one of each managed to do quite well. And one of the Argentinian judges said to me, if you are serious, why you don't bring a good one from England? And he gave me some kennels in England, the name, and I was an English champion. Now, that one, he was the first champion of any breed going to Argentina.
Really?
Yeah, he did very well. He really won best in shows. He was a very good start dog. Was the start of the Bedlingtons in Argentina, yeah.
And this was a Bedlington?
Yeah.
Wow. And did you make the first 2 champions?
It came to the point, to be fair, that anything that I show, I would have made it up. but I knew what they were the cell champions and what they were another champion. I mean, for me, if I didn't win the group, I didn't have a good day.
Oh,
No, because they were both very easy. When you have, and
yes,
I started in Coffers because the quality of the cockers in Argentina at that time was top of the world.
yes.
Really, no, I mean they had English champion follow and club big judges. They used to come to Argentina and say you don't need to import any dog from England. And we used to have more than 100 dogs in the Rainforest Club show.
Mm.
And I was thinking I like a breed where I had to compete, not for the class. Forget about the CSC.
Yeah.
And I look and I thought, yeah, okay, I like the challenge. I want the cocker, and I started with cockers, and that was the way. And it was
You were very young. You started in English cockers around 1970.
Exactly 1970. Yeah, 70. Yeah, 77.
And you had great success, including, if I'm correct, you won reserve best in show at Crufts with.
Well, it wasn't me.
Away.
No, I worked from England. He came to Argentina, and he came to Argentina with 19 CCs.
Yes.
And after winning reserve best in showing crafts, yes, I think it was 1960, 66, 67 that he won the reserve best in showing crafts. But at that time in Argentina, there was a kennel with 7 English champions in his kennel. It was amazing, the quality, really.
So how long did it take you then? And we'll leave Bedlingtons to the side now because they were they were quite easy to win in. How long did it take you to win in cockers?
Oh, in cockers, the first champion, I think I made it bred by me, right? Because obviously, but bred by me, the first champion might have been in 1976, I think.
So it took you quite a while.
Quite a while, yeah. There were a lot of people, very good, very well-known, very good breeders. Now, the competition was between breeders. No, it wasn't, because if I seen it happening in some countries, I won't make names, people start buying English dogs without considering if they were useful for them or no. As long as it was a champion or won the classic craft, they will buy. Then another one will buy one that won 2 classes in craft instead of 1, 2. And nobody with the criteria, it will be useful for me. No, it was just buying the winners. Yeah. When in Argentina, the people in cocker were very serious people, the breeders. I mean, they knew what they buy and for why they were buying. No?
Yeah. And then for a while, you stopped breeding for a while to concentrate on your judging because you.
Well, that was in a way my mistake.
But then you moved into Shih Tzus.
No, I moved into Shih Tzu before I started judging a lot.
Okay.
And when you see, for me, if I had a litter, I had to be there. Mm-hmm. And if I made a bitch, I had to be there all the time. I won't put my bitch in a boarding kennel or move it from where she lives, nothing. If mated, no more shows at home. That means a bitch will come in season, I will look at my book, judging book, and say, oh, I can't, the day that should make it, I won't be here. Or the days that they will be due to happen, and that was it. I would say, no, I don't make it. And that was boom, boom, the years goes through, and I lost all my lives, basically. You know? I mean, and
so what made you go from cockers to Shih Tzus? Because that's a strange, it's a strange transition.
The first time I came to England, I never had seen a Shih Tzu before. That was in 1968. And I went to Windsor Dog Show, and I was fascinated with the breed, just the look of them. And I came back and I wrote to the breeder of the Green Moss, that was one of the top.
Yes.
And he offered me a puppy. And the price of the puppy was the same I would have to pay for an English champion in Bedlingtons. And I thought, if puppy
Because
said,
that was the Leadbetters, isn't that right?
yeah, I don't know, yeah.
And they, would you believe, because my first breed was Shih Tzus,
All right.
and my sister had Shih Tzus, and all of our breeding was green moss.
Well, I mean, the champion I made in the UK, I went to Maiden Beach Christmas Day from Norwich to North Yorkshire.
Mm.
That when I say to Arnold, how much is the start fee? Because I use Glenmore's Dolby. He said, well, my start fee, I can't remember how much it was, I suppose £150, but you come from so far away that I can't charge you so much. You know? And
They were very good.
And I know if you knew that in Argentina, sometimes you had to travel 1,000 miles to make the beach because they know you wanted there. For me, going from Norfolk to Yorkshire was like going to the seaside for the day in Argentina, no?
He was
a champion, no? Lovely.
He was a fabulous dog, though.
Yeah.
Stoned.
You see, at that time when I went to Windsor, there was the competition between the Green Moss and the Antarcticus.
Yes.
And I looked at the two, I don't want the Green Moss. No?
And they were very different.
Yes, they're absolutely different. The size, basically,
expression,
and the coat.
Yes.
No. And like the head, I mean, that head. Obviously, we used to be, those are the Pekingese, because the capital thing, not to have crossing with the Pekingese, and I thought myself I was a genius doing that. Because my first Shih Tzu, my first Shih Tzu I bought it from Sylvia Rollins Lansu, and she had the Pekingese 7th generation behind. And sometimes when she used to come towards me, I used to think, oh, you had a Pekingese. She used to come rolling. But she was the head and the size, she was lovely. I mean, and I was very conscious about the font. I mean, everything I read from there, I always be careful because, fonts are one of the most difficult things to improve.
Yes.
It could take you generations to, I mean, you have to put your mind on that. Font. I think the last one I had, the Dam of the Champion, nobody understood why I never showed her, because she was the sound Shih Tzu you can imagine.
Really?
Yeah, but for me, she was masculine.
Okay, yes.
If I'm not satisfied that she's good enough to be shown, because when I used to look at her, I even don't know if female or female. I thought I'm not showing her because I wouldn't think I deserve to win just because she's a sound mover.
Yes, because there's so much more. Yes, you're quite right.
I never showed her, but that comes through with the son. That was a very sound dog, and I sold because I never kept a male since I moved to England. And a breeder in Norfolk, she came to see me and she saw the litter and she said, will you send me that puppy? I said, yes, I keep it female. You can have all the basically. And she made it up. I mean, and it was.
And staying on Shih Tzus now for a while. Top knots. Are you a traditionalist, or do you mind these?
Absolutely. In countries like Spain, if there is a good Shih Tzu, I will say, will you do me a favor? You will win. No, if it's for me the best dog you can get. They say, will you come for best of breed? Will you take that rubbish from there?
Thank you.
And just put the rubber. In Argentina, it's dreadful.
Really?
It's just that, well, I think you know me in a way, I don't I had to stop one day a show and say, if any handler lift the Shih Tzu the way they are doing it now, I stop the judging and I stop that handler to show all day. Because everything is a code.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they lift the dog from the table, like that was a table. Yes. And for me to do a Shih Tzu, something like that, it's criminal, no? It really, and then they let the top knots at they are like, I call them particular multices. They nobody, no, long neck, short back, nothing after the leg, nothing you I like in the Shih Tzu, no? And they don't show what I mean. In Argentina, golden retrievers, Shih Tzus, Springer Spaniels, they don't show. The friends of mine, I am not upset because they don't show, because I would do it anyway. If I was in that position, it's a waste of time. No? I mean, I don't, because I really, it's very disappointing to see.
I agree with you, because for me, I'm a traditionalist as well. I like just a normal top knot, because I think it just it affects the whole expression of what you want to see in a Shih Tzu. I mean, you don't get a chrysanthemum look.
Exactly. You see, and they lost. They look like clowns. People don't. Yes. I feel like it's humiliating. They don't do it that sort of thing with those eyelashes, no better. And I think people, not me because I am at the end of the world, but young people will be paying the consequences of what people have done, overdoing the coach, overdoing the timing. So, because as an outsider, if I go to a show and I see a dog on the table all day, bash, 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 I always, well,
yes. You're right.
My dog will always show with a well trained, good, but never overdoing it. And I think if I was an outsider and I said, poor dog, no? And they bring the dog in the ring, and the first thing they don't do is they pee and go to the toilet, everything, because he hasn't been taken for a minute. Yeah. I hate exaggerations, no? In anything, and we are going more and more towards that.
We are, I'm afraid. Yes, you're right. And just moving back to the start of your showing career, were there people that influenced you in Argentina?
Yes. The guy from where I started with Coffers, he was a guy that I don't think I think he never went further than Brazil, you know. Like, he knew exactly, and he was I always say he was a sort of a genius, and all genius sometimes are eccentric. For me, Hasse Lehtinen is the master of the judges, and sometimes, but I always say Hasse can do whatever he wants. He had the right to do it, you know. And with this guy the same. Sometimes he used to do things. I say, "Are you going crazy?" But then I thought, well, dear, he's going crazy. Just let him go crazy. He had a very, very deep knowledge, and there was another lady that she came with us to England in '76 on holidays, going to all the shows. She was very good, very there. They knew what type was. I learned a lot from them. Yeah.
And in terms of your showing career, what would be your biggest achievement?
My biggest achievement, and maybe I didn't do it myself, it was the Shih Tzu I bred being made a champion. The Burlington I brought from Argentina is the grandson of the record holder in Burlingtons in the UK. For me, that's more important than myself winning a show, if I can say. As I say, I didn't show a lot in the UK because there was a year gap where I had to work and I didn't have much time to. And once I started showing, I started judging, and that was the end of. But yes, some people won't done well with dogs made by me. And as I said, that Bedlington, when I brought the Bedlington from Argentina, I don't know if you remember Bob Russell Roberts.
Vaguely, yes.
And I knew him quite well. Like he used to write in the World. And he wrote, I don't think it was the first front page of bringing coal to Newcastle. How do I dare me from Argentina bringing Bedlington to the UK? And a few years later, I saw him and I thought, well, it wasn't such a bad idea. No, because, no, as I say, for me, basically, I think helping people to learn to judge and to learn to read and to learn. I did quite a lot of that with people, especially Norfolk people that got close to me, and helping people in the UK to be and in Ireland to start judging in Argentina, countries like that. That you see, they were always only the top judges going.
Yes.
You know? There were judges that, like Anne England, that in Argentina that nobody had an idea who she was for it. You see, and you say, well, they meet the judges in the world shows, and and they invite. Well, don't touch it. That part.
And as I said earlier, you are a very successful breeder of many breeds. So when you're mating a dog to a bitch, do you study pedigrees a lot, or do you use your eye, or is it a combination of both?
Well, my first step is, if I like a dog in the ring, I look who the side is.
Okay. Yeah.
And if I like the side, then I go to the pedigree, basically to know what problems I could get.
Mm-hmm.
And I consider the danger of that problems and how bother me that problems. And if I think that's all right, if I like the dog, it's because obviously similar to what I like, then who is behind the yes, as I say. To give an example, I don't want to make name. In one of the breeds, I used a dog that his sire was a monarchy.
Mm.
He was a dog that won a lot in the country. I saw him when he was 8 months old in the London Cocker Show. I said what breed now. I say to the breeder, I would like to use your dog. And she said, it's only 8 months. I say, my bitch is 7 months. No, that was my answer. And I use that dog. We mated the bitch in a show where they don't want the first ticket. He was just coming out of puppy,
Yeah.
And that dog, his sire was a monarchy. And people, I said, I don't keep males. I mean, in a males are monarchy. I said it as pets, and that's it. I am not breeding to keep a nice male. I'm breeding to keep a nice bitch. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
And in the long term, I had 4 generations, and I never had a monarchy. And I am pretty sure that dog produced monarchies, but no more in proportion than any other dog, because that dog made 100 bitches, and other dog made 1 bitch. I mean, that's why I don't believe monarchies in the same heat dysplasia.
Yes.
In Germany, and I can say whatever I want because I don't breed anymore. I don't have any. But I look, in Germany, been testing F-brain for the last 60, 70 years. The German Shepherds, you have to take the bitch to be approved by the German club to have puppies. They tell you what dose you can use.
Yes.
They don't suggest you, they tell you. Have they sorted out the problem with hyperplasia? They haven't. They still don't.
No.
Then why all this? You see,
Well, there is a excuse me. There is a theory that if you do have a monorchid, that you should use him once, and if you have males on the litter, you discard the males but keep the bitches.
that's what I didn't think, because I didn't bother. I was going to sell the dogs anyway, with two or with one or with none. They were for sale, the males. No? I mean, what I always wanted to, I never had a bitch since I live here, keeping myself. No? I mean, you never were. And I think when I'm talking about the United Kingdom, when there were no rules, they were breeding better dogs and more rules, and the dog are not as good as they used to. That's it working for as an outsider now, no?
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
trying to go in. I look when they were allowed to mate long coat, small chihuahuas, when they were allowed to mate in the dark shoes.
Yes.
There were chihuahuas that were fantastic in the chihuahuas in the UK. Now what up? And every restriction, the breeders, they used to restrict themselves. They knew what to do. And if they made a mistake, and sometimes they tried to hide it, for like the temperament in the red cockers, I don't know if you remember when all the problem came about.
Yeah.
Well, I remember in Argentina, when I started to go to shows in 1963, they used to tell me, be careful with the red cockers. No? I mean, that wasn't new. And we knew now from where it came, and it originated with an English champion that was sold to Argentina because he was producing a problem. They didn't have a name, the problem. They didn't have a name. Now they call it Reich syndrome. No? But
yes, they had the very same problem here in Ireland through the 60s and 70s.
Exactly, right? And as I say, it can't all from originally, but they had to accept that there was a problem, and it was sorted out. I mean, they sorted out between them. There was a kennel that started again, and was one of the top kennels in the country. I mean, I think that rules only apply for the people that they don't comply with the rules and they do whatever they want and force the papers or do whatever. The serious people don't need rules, and they have their own criteria.
And when you're choosing a dog to mate a bitch to, if you see a dog that you really like in the show ring, do you use that dog, or do you use the sire?
I would try to use the sire. Definitely, yeah.
I think that's perhaps an error that a lot of people make. They see a dog that they really like and they use that dog rather than going and say, well, actually, I'm going to use the sire that produced that dog.
Yes, it's only if the sire died and the dog is a nice dog and you say, well, I like that dog, the sire, I like the line, and the dog is a good dog, well, I use and see what happens. For me, the secret of breeding is in the females, for a start.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I learned it from the guy that was called Mr. Bedlington in the world, Fred Gent, from the North Forest. When I moved to England, I went to see him because I always follow his breeding. No? And I say, Fred, I want to buy a dog, a bitch. I think she used to smoke a cigar, no? And like, come on, I'll take you to the kennels, no? And we were, can you see that puppy is about 10 weeks old, it for sale, £100 for it. That one is 7 months, 250. That month is a champion, £2,000. The female, you breed it yourself. And I think it's right. I think the female is where the secret is. I'm convinced of that. I know in Cockers, the woman that won Betty Joe in craft with a Cocker in the 90s, She had champions in 4 litres with that bitch, all with different dogs.
Mm.
And you know, Coffers is not an easy breed to make champ. And she bred a champion in each litter with 4 different sizes. With that.
It's amazing. That's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, for me, that's where it comes the secret. And I don't, at the same time, I don't think that the top bitches are the top mothers. I think the sister of the top bitch will be the top mother, because the top bitch will be a bit more extreme.
Mm-hmm.
The sister will be more what we call a honest bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find anything wrong, but it's nothing special around there. And I think she's the one that will produce the goods.
That's very often the case.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I can't. It's not a science.
No.
You just look into the ears, no, and seeing why that bitch, why this dog, that bitch they use. She had a sister that was a champion. Why they use this sister? And when you start looking at that, and yes, I can see why. And if you think there's only a few exemptions to the rule that great bitches don't breed great offspring. There are some exceptions, no? Generally, you can have exemptions, but you don't. In general, they maybe because if that bitch is such a good bitch, we expect from her the perfect one, and the perfect one doesn't exist. No? Maybe that's the reason, but I am convinced of that.
And so when did you start judging first?
My first open show, I was told you never ask.
Yes.
You wait till they ask you. No, that's since I started in dogs. You never crossed my mind that I can see now people go to a show, at the second show, they think they can start judging. But when I came back from my tour of Europe in '68, that I spent 3 months in England, going to dog shows, staying with breeders, people that were sort of in higher position than me, they came to me and they said, don't you think it's time you start judging?
Okay.
And and the first thing I did was an open show for the Terrier Club, and then an open show for all breeds in one county in Argentina. You see, in Argentina, the numbers, and it's not the same, no? Because in Ireland there are more, but the numbers are not the same as the UK. You had maybe 100 breeds, but normally you had 2 or 3 of these, 2 or 3 of that. That means you can sit down in a ring watching, and you see all the breeds being judged in that ring in a day. And you had the breeder of Cillian next to you, and you start talking because and she will give you some special clues about the breed, not the standard, you know. And then 5 minutes later, you are sitting and you have the Doberman person there. The Doberman, you have to look at this, and you are learning the details, not the standards anybody did.
Yes.
But you start learning what is important, and that was the system, how you learn. And I was made in Orlando, I think, in 1975. It wasn't very difficult. I mean, it's obviously the number of dogs in Argentina, for question of distances, they need quite a few judges. Now,
what was the best piece of advice you were given before you started judging?
Try to do your own thing. The first person that the advice was this guy I'm talking. I don't know if you heard of Teresa Cervantes from Argentina.
I know the name.
Well, she for me was my best friend in dogs in Argentina. She was the one that said to me, she was the most honest. She will do whatever she thinks is right and won't give a damn what people think. And she said to me, the only thing you have to think when you go to bed, you have to be happy that if you made a mistake, you made an honest mistake. And then you will be able to sleep okay. And she was very open. I mean, we were, as I said, very just to say, oh, you know, in that bit, I think I put the foot wrong. I don't know what happened with me in that class, but I loved it, and I should have done. She was a farmer. She was bred with horses and cattle. That means she had an eye for an animal. She
stock woman.
Stock, exactly. You see, I mean, to talk about the farmer, she had 3,000 acres, not the land, and the parents were, and all the. There was a group of that sort of people in the dog game, sort of very sort of, if you can call it aristocrats. But if there is one thing that I think the dog game had in favor, is that social classes don't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think today that judges who are starting off, do you think they ask enough questions of breeders or experienced judges before they start judging, or do you think there's a lot that they know it all?
I have to say that the judges to who I have contact, that sort of, not my generation for age, but for my generation being in dogs at the same time. I mean, there are some dogs that they look for advice. The thing is, I always felt comfortable if I wasn't sure, if I not in the UK but judging around the world, no. I will have selected them. Did you see anything on my judging? Yeah. What do you think? If he say you were rubbish, I will say he's right, because any opinion he will give will be an honest opinion. It won't be clouded by jealousy or for problems or for no. And he will tell you as he sees. You can agree with him or not. Sometimes I used to talk, they make your hair say, oh, you say that and look what you do with it. No. But he really, I always took serious notice of what she will say to me. Yeah.
And when did you achieve all breed status?
Sorry?
When did you achieve all breed status?
I think it was 75, 76, something like that. I know it was before I came to England. It's just that time, people outside England, they criticize why they can't judge all breeds. They are not accepted openly as an all breed judge. And I say, look, if they would have upset me openly, he's an all-rounder, you can judge Cavaliers, in Birmingham show. I have seen 2 Cavaliers in my life.
Really?
Yeah, because in Argentina they didn't have Cavaliers.
Yes.
I mean, I could understand why in a lot of breeds people could have the knowledge, but they don't have the knowledge how to handle a ring with 50 dogs in a class or 25 dogs in the class. They are used to judge 1s and 2s and 3s. And I know because I've been a judge all over, and I know what sort of classes I get in other countries. And some countries, there are some breeds that are very powerful in that breed, and you had a good number, a good quality, and all that. But the depth of numbers, with something that I always argue, that yes, good dogs, bad dogs, they are all over the world. We all know that. But in England, when you look at the class, there are good Shih Tzu, bad Shih Tzu, but they are all Shih Tzus.
Yes.
In other countries, you look at the class, and there is an exceptional Shih Tzu, and the rest, you think, what are they? No? That's it. The difference. I'm not generalizing, because some countries that they had very good numbers and quality, deep depth of quality.
But do you not think, I'm trying to think of an example here now. For example, my first breed, as I said earlier, was Shih Tzus, right? And now I have American Cockers, obviously, but I had Shih Tzus for many years. The utility group, as it was known back then, was the first group that I ever judged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's no hope of me being put forward for a Shih Tzu show, for CCs in the UK. And even if I was, I probably wouldn't be passed, because they're going to look for numbers and they're going to look for all these things.
No,
and we could have judged hundreds of them around the world.
The system had changed, and I know that at one time, because the system was different. Now it is another system that maybe will make it easier, no? Because you can put your name forward. You don't need to wait till being invited for the Kennel Club to ask you send you a form, no?
Yeah.
Like that. If nobody invites you to judge Jesus, well, you were not approved or not approved. First of all, you needed somebody to invite you.
Yes.
And that could be difficult. But I know my experience in one society, and I promise you I'm not involved in any sort of politics, and I don't ask for appointments or anything. They say to me, can you send us the judging you don't avoid the numbers of each breed? You think you got enough numbers? Doesn't matter exactly the date of the show or not. No, that's just to give us an idea how many golden retrievers you've done in your life, no? And with classes of how many, because if you do one, and 100 times, it doesn't count much.
Yes.
But I went through all my at that time I used to keep the catalog, all my catalogs of the judging awards, and I selected breeds, especially for breeds that I done in Scandinavia, where the numbers tend to be quite big in some breeds. And they select me for Leonbergers, American Cockers, and there was something else, and Las Apsos.
Okay. And
they put my name forward. I sent the form to the Kennel Club, giving date, saying I judge, I don't know, Gothenburg show. I remember about 55 Leonbergers. I can't promise you exactly the number of the dates. I put a letter with that because I wasn't sure. I don't know how many absentee were. Yes. And they passed me with that breeds. That means if you have some sort at that time, now I think it's easier, because if you put your name for Shih Tzus, for instance, you get, and I think if you send your background in Shih Tzu, for a start, that you had a background, you are not a breeder of smooth fox terrier. You are, and you send a list of the times you had judged, what you had done in Shih Tzu, breeding, the list of judges, I'm sure they would pass you. I'm sure that you see, and there is a woman from Ireland. She gives this in England. Something Coogan in Shih.
Say it again. Coogan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There is a lady Irish lady.
Yes.
That I think her name is Cogan or something.
Coogan.
Coogan.
Yes.
She does this in England. I mean, she was part to do it. Have you ever any society from England invite you?
No. But we try to. It's not about me. I'm just using that as an example.
No. What I'm saying is, at the moment, I don't know very well the rules of the new rules. I didn't bother to, because I don't want to know.
Let's look them up. So
up to the point that I had to phone Frank Kane to see what's in my situation, the granddad of, because they call us granddads, no? He say, if you are not applying for new breeds, you don't have to do anything, because I didn't know. But I think now you can put your name forward and send your records, and they will consider you.
And aside from your own breeds, Bedlingtons, Cockers, and miniature wire Dachshunds now, I believe, and Shih Tzus. Is there a breed you really like to judge, or do you mind?
Well, there are a lot of breeds I like. What I would say is, I don't mind to judge any breed if I had good dogs in the classes.
That's very that's so true. So true.
But there's nothing more difficult and more disappointing than judge dogs that you don't like. You have to start comparing the fault of this one you don't like and the other one you don't like, and you have to make, well, what do I judge? Heads, and well, one is the best head, because you don't. Otherwise, there are some breeds I love. I love personally. I love faithful dogs. I like bulldogs. I love poodles. I love Rottweilers. Because they are breed, or English sheepdogs. I think it's a breed I feel very confident in the World Show in Portugal. I dare to give a better breed to a puppy 14 months old.
Wow.
And it was the top winning Northern English sheepdog in Europe and in England. He was made up a champion in England. And there was silence when I gave the because he was a puppy. They were champion for that famous Kennedy Holland. And I felt I didn't have any hesitation. I thought, for me, it's miles away from that dog. And I'm never considering the ages. So if I like a puppy, I give it to a puppy. If I like a veteran, I give it to a veteran.
Absolutely.
For me, it doesn't count. And if my position is, I don't care if it's a junior. I'm quite happy to give it to a junior, because it seems that there's something good coming out. But if it is not, but like whatever you got in the class, where you go.
Yeah. And is there a fault that really irritates you?
Yeah, but at the moment, because obviously, at the moment I can see a problem in a lot of breeds with short legs.
Okay.
Breed that should be up. I'm not saying leggy, but should be up.
Yes.
A lot. And the problem has always been, the problem is I think that sort of those winning. And I learned a judge long time ago. I was still in Argentina, and a judge was looking at the dogs and placing them. And I said, sorry, you haven't moved the dogs. And he answered, if I don't like them standing, why should I like them moving? And I think he's right. If you think the dog standing there in four legs, how it should be looking, the balance, the proper. If that's failing that, well, yes, if it moves well, you place it third instead of fourth or something like that. But you can be, and for me, that's the problem now. You get the Shih Tzus too much up on the legs. No, that's the problem.
Yes.
You get that problem. But because they lose the balance. You see, that they lose the outline you expect of a Shih Tzu they have carried on the legs. And you get the Labradors, Cockers, Golden Retrievers, all those sort of breeds with legs that they are short-legged. They are not long in the back. Do you think they are long in the back? Because when you look the balance, they are not long, they are short in the legs.
Short in leg. You're quite right.
Another thing that, because I always think as a breeder, for me, heads are very important for the placing, because a dog with a ugly. But I think heads is very easy to improve. If you had a problem with, in 1-2 generations, you get good heads. If you
Yeah.
do the fonts, you don't.
Mm.
A wrong font will cost you maybe 5 generations, and there's a very big problem now. The shoulders are okay. The problem is short of upper arm. Huh?
Yes.
I mean, they got very good like this, and suddenly they got straight like this, no? Instead of having the legs under the body, they are on the front of the body. For me, this is a serious problem. Those are the
And we know that in the UK you do have a form of critiquing, but critiquing as they do in worldwide, do you enjoy it? Do you think it should be introduced more widely?
No, I don't agree. Don't agree at all. People say to me, oh, I said, well, why are you giving that? Well, because the exhibitors want to learn.
Mm.
And I'm going to say, I always say, I feel sorry for the exhibitors because if they read 40 opinions of their dog, they will all be different and they get more confused than before they started. That's in my opinion. No? I think it's a lot more positive when you finish judging if people are interested. Not trying to take an examination to see if you, to ask you what you think. I prefer to talk with the people and say, look, you had this problem, you had to go. I did it in Russia. I said, look, this breed, you had to look again. In Argentina, I called the golden retriever people on the exhibitors, and I say, can you come for that? Will you tell me what you consider of all these heads, which one is the good one? Because none of them is good, but they are bad in different ways. Because one were too narrow. No, what they, because for me, I couldn't see which one was a good head. Then I said, which one do you think is a good head? Because you haven't got any good head according with the other retrievers. You see, that's the problem. You have to, for me, the report, you are doing the report of that dog, and you have to report according with general what you got there. Because, for instance, my example is, you had a mediocre dog that basically nothing wrong with the dog.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's nothing especially right with that dog. And you have a dog that is outstanding, no? Superb, yes. But maybe you will prefer the eyes a bit darker. I'm not saying yellow eyes, no, but to the one that's mediocre, you're like good head, good top line, good. The other one, you're an outstanding dog, beautiful head. I would prefer darker eyes. And the two exhibitors get together, and because obviously the one with the lighter eyes won the class, no?
Yes.
They get together, supposing that they are there to learn, and the one that goes second will say, well, why you won? If mine hasn't got anything wrong, and you got you follow me. See, that you learn for that report.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more positive verbally. When I do the breeds in the UK, I always write a lot in general. What I find the problem, what I find that is better, then I'm quite polite, but I'm not stupid. Yes. Some people say whether they talk with me after judging, I say, well, I don't like the paper. Oh, don't put it in the paper. I say, oh, yes, I will put it. But I put, oh, he seems very happy too happy today. No, without being nasty, you are showing the fault. And yes. I know because I learned when I was buying dogs in England, I used to follow that report. What of the foreign people go, oh, the English reports, no? And I used to look at Exhibitor, and I would read once, today doesn't seem very happy. And the next show, it looks a bit worried. I would say that dog has no good temper. I mean, do you understand? If you not read between the lines, you know what you are reading. That means you can find what the dog looks like. or what's wrong with the dog, you know?
And the champion quality. Do you like that?
What do you mean? That
Like they have in Scandinavia, where you place your dogs and then you can say, I'm going to give the first two a CQ, as they call
answer for me, because I know I'm very generous.
it.
Maybe because I always think at the end of the day there's a CC winner and a CACIV winner.
Yes.
All this I know from my experience. If they were giving me with the Bedlington what I deserve it, with the first two Bedlingtons, I would have given up in 3 shows.
True. Yes,
Because
fair
they
point.
should deserve more than a very good. It was just a very good, mediocre dogs, right? When I would say, oh, that's it, finish. But they gave me an excellent and a CAC that definitely I shouldn't have got it. But then you win more than that. You think, well, why I don't win the group, or why I don't get the second look in the group? And then you try to improve. If they say to me, oh, it's no good, I just go and I disappear. Maybe having good thing for the dog game, but not serious. You lose, and I always say, if one undeserved excellent in the show, just one come back next show and try to improve, I think I done a good job. Doesn't matter the dog got excellent or very good. That meant the people, they want to do better. And they aim the next time when they have something, they will try to be better than that generous excellence. I mean, I am generous. The champion quality, I am more careful because if you go sort of mad giving them,
yes,
suddenly for one question that one was made a champion and the other one, suddenly you ended with the one that you consider fifth in the class getting the CC.
Yeah.
I mean, the champion quality, I am more careful. But still, I think I gave in more than what I should have. I don't think will change the destiny of the world.
No, true.
One excellent or one champion quality. I think
And irate exhibitors or angry exhibitors that don't like what you have done, how do you deal with them?
Don't show what they mean again.
Okay, yeah, fair, yes. Yeah.
I could recognize, yes, sometimes, I'm sure every show I judge, sometimes one mistake or what. I don't think I'm perfect. I never lost my sleep for but the real thing is because it's what I will do. If I go to a show, once in my life, I went for a judge and I was really a novice. No? But I go with this Bedlington champion I got from England with 7 CCs in England in a way that the judge was an Argentinian judge that the only thing he could know the way for seeing photos. At that time, people didn't used to travel and see the place in that photos. No? And I got to a show with this dog. After winning betting show, one that I was a novice, I thought, because if not, I would have laughed. No? But being a novice, and he gave me excellent, and he denied me the CC. And really today I can't understand because, guys, you don't know the way. You know the dog has seen 7 CCs in England. You know that one betting show the week before. Do you need to give it? And I tell you now, the dog was up to size. If he would have said to me, it's too big, I would answer maybe, well, yeah, but 7 English judges that they know more about Bedlington than you. This easy. And there were nothing competing. I mean, there were no CC that day because it was the only one. You know that I beat one that was the better size. No, there were nothing to compare. But that was the only time I went to confront the judge. No fighting, no, but in a sort of why, no? Because otherwise my idea is if I don't like the judging, If it is a new judge, the first time I will say, well, it's the first time, it's very nervous, not the tensions that you know, especially in the UK, when it comes to the placing and all that. You need guts, especially in some place you have to say, I know what I'm doing. Because, I mean, I can accept that some judges feel nervous about ups, and I think I give a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if I don't, because the other thing is, if I have a dog, I know the faults of my dog, no? And
Yes.
if I say in the Shih Tzu that the tail carriage is not good, no? But it's a fantastic dog, I would prefer better. When I go and judge at the show and the judge that I can see is looking at the balance. Well, if I don't win, I can't complain because I know, and I say, well, next time when I have a dog with good tail, I will show it under that judge. And it doesn't make any sense to go under that.
Fair point, yes.
That's a policy because if not, if I show the same dog because the judge is in a better mood, put me up. It doesn't play like that.
And in terms of your judging career, what has been your biggest achievement?
Well, my biggest achievement, I had to say, judging Bedlingtons in crafts, when I had the record holder entries. It never before after there were 120 Bedlingtons in the ring.
Must have been phenomenal.
Yeah?
That must have been phenomenal.
It was look at classes in Bedlington because I used to focus.
Yeah.
But I had 20 odd Bedlingtons in one class. It was something that really it made you jump up. And looking at the catalog and seeing that all the winners but one, but not only the winners, all the places in all the classes but one, they were all going back to the same breeding.
Really?
Showing for another people, no? And I didn't know most of the people. At the moment, if I go to a Bedlington ring, I know 3 or 4 people because the turnover of people and people passed away or stopped showing. I know 2 or 3, and basically that I put in my report. First of all, I want to congratulate that kennel because all the dogs that don't win CC research go back to their breeding. She didn't get more than a third in the class with her own dog, no?
That's amazing.
Because, and funny enough, she had it in partnership with another lady, and I had judged it before, and I gave it her a third, and I'm sure in class she said, oh, I showed her, because the other lady I didn't know her. She showed her, and she got third, and I didn't recognize the bitch anymore. I'm going to play her third again. In judgment, that was, I think, basically what it, and I don't know, judging that dog in Coffers that is winning now a lot. He's a record holder in the UK. And when I gave the CC, he had already, I'm not saying I discovered the dog because he had about 19 or 20 tickets, but I wrote in the report, no cancer stole away, that is the reserve showing. He slept in my bed, I seen stars shine with 70 cc's, and I think that dog is one that will be in that category, and he went better than that. For me, the woman, I mean, I don't know her, but now I know her a little bit better. She said hello to me, I say hello to her. She came to thank me when she said, to read that in the paper, she said, I couldn't believe it. And the Saevich, that was, the Saevich that day was, I gave it to a bitch from an unknown person, unknown kennel, didn't know who she was. She got the ticket. After a point that in Carter was 2 or 3 months afterwards, she was there and I didn't recognize her because she keeps smiling at me. And why is she smiling? And after she said to me, it's the first CC in my life of my first litter that I had bred, and that bitch was made up in 2 months. She became a child. For me, that is something I'm proud. And last time I did Cockers, the best male, the sissy male, was a son of that bitch. Yes, it's a son of that bitch. But the owner of the stud dog bought this dog, or I don't know what arrangement they got, but it's owned by the stud dog. And he was made up from Junior. I mean, that woman had bred 2 champions in 2 litters, and he said absolutely novice. And I think some people had obviously some talent or something special to. And that sort of thing made me feel proud because, and as I say, absolutely unknown.
And you mentioned earlier about when you see a breed that has problems in a country, that you will get them together and say, look, what are you doing here? Or, you've got problems with heads or whatever. Do you think that judges understand that we have a role in that area? Do you think enough judges?
Well, I think this is the basic role. The problem is the world has changed, and I think that's why, one of the reasons why I want to get out of the world. because I can't. It's another world. People today are looking. They want to be famous. Doesn't matter what. And you look at these programs like when they act in X Factor. Why you are? Because I want to be famous. No, I am famous because I'm good at what I'm doing. No, I want to do something that I want to be famous. And I think that it got into the dog game too. I mean, that necessity of being famous doesn't matter how. No?
I agree with you.
It lose all sense because they are not breeders. They breed 1 litter. If they don't win, they don't like it. But there's always a group. I think in every country you get the group that they are solid breeders. I know you got it in Ireland. I know you got it in Argentina because I know some people. Last time I went, I met some people talking. Yes, they love their own breed. They try to get the best. They discuss the thing. They are well-intentioned, good people of everywhere. But I think the celebrity brigade is taking.
Right.
No, that's a personal. I don't blame it. It's a world that has changed. It's not the people. It's a world that has changed, and it's different values. They don't.
Following on from that, because as you say, there are so many rules now, and there are so many. You can't do this with a bitch, or you can't do that with a dog. This whole area surrounding brachycephalic breeds and health within dogs. Do you think kennel clubs are handling this in the right way?
They are trying. I think if we can imagine how I feel when I know how healthy the Shih Tzus are. I had Shih Tzus in the 70s, 30 years more. As I can be now. Since the 1978, I had the first Shih Tzu. I mean, 42 years I have. I mean, and I know how old they die, and I know how much they are like puppies. You know?
Yes.
The one I got now, she's 7 years old. She followed me everywhere. When a customer comes to the kennel, but she loves everywhere, they say, how old is the puppy? And she's 7 years old. How can they say that it's unhealthy?
Yeah.
Sometimes she snores a bit. No, but sometimes,
So do I.
I say I snore. Will they want to kill me because I snore? Or will they stop me having children because I snore? That is what I can't understand. No, and what my principle is, and as I say because nobody can blame me for if people are allowed to have children, and there are a lot of people that they shouldn't have children for different
Yes.
reasons, how can they start thinking like losing all the time with these rules about if the nose, yes, but the nose, I mean, the standard of the Shih Tzu say big nose, the Peking is not, the pinch nose is a fault, it is not the way it should be like that. And blame the Pekingese, blame that Pekingese, or blame the judge that put that Pekingese up.
Yes, absolutely.
But don't blame the breed because Pekingese, yeah, they can run, but they are very happy not running. And
Yeah.
you see, I have boarding kennels, I got all breeds here. You have to see the bulldog running. You think that's just
Yeah.
for the way they run. But they
And in actual fact, that the and my reason my wife mentioned this that last interview, the bulldog that was in the group of Crufts the last time it was run. I mean, it was probably one of the healthiest dogs in the group.
that's what I'm saying. I am saying here are the bulldogs that come here. Some they come from good kennels, no, they are not.
Yeah.
But they are pets. They are not show dogs, and they are bulldogs. And they are. It's not that well, yes, bulldog, but they had a long face,
Yeah.
and they can run and they can play and they are happy. What is the is if people? I know the cruelty. I know the, but just put the things in perspective. I mean, I agree. The exaggeration again, when we were talking about the dogs on the table all day. You know, in Argentina,
Yeah.
some of the shows, some of the weekends, because you know it's a very big country, to attract the people to go to the shows inland, because the main is in Buenos Aires and around, they have 3 shows in the weekend.
Yeah.
They never had more than 350 dogs. I mean, they have 3 judges, 2 days. Will you believe that they bath golden retrievers the same day between judge and judge?
No.
Retrievers. The handlers won't go to a show if they not guarantee that they will have plugs to put the hair dryer back to bath the dogs. It's not that going over the top. Then we have to understand the people that are against that, because it's extreme. It's extreme. The way they look after the Shih Tzus in some places, and because they had it in the floor is a mesh. There's a mesh. Then when they pee, they go under that. They don't see the sun because it dry the coat.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
what do we expect? The people won't react. If I react to that I am a doggy person, that I trim and bath and shampoo, how can you expect somebody has a pet and see that Shih Tzus? Don't be upset. It had to be a change. It had to be a change. It's not that.
And moving on now and lightening things up a little bit, although we've been
Yeah,
great.
because we get depressed if we get.
4 dinner guests that you must have at a dinner.
Sorry?
Name 4 dinner guests if you're having a dinner that you must invite.
Anne Ingram is a friend of mine.
And Anne Ingram, by the way, says hello, and that you're talking so much sense.
Is she? Is she there? Andrew Grace, I find him. Sometimes I get upset, but I find him a very knowledgeable, intelligent people. And sometimes I feel like writing always, oh, you are right. And I think, no, I'm not going to give you the pleasure to tell him that he's right. No? But I think he's a very interesting person to with a big knowledge. Who else? I'm thinking about now, Hasseletinen is gone. Rainer Vuorinen from Finland. More person from Sweden. There are people, they are what I consider doggy people.
Yeah.
They are not out there for the success or for the or for getting judging appointments. That's it basically.
Okay. Yeah.
I think, and Michael Forte from England, he's very much. I had a lot of fun with when we had together. That with another one, I would enjoy having him from England.
And is there a judge or a breeder that you really admire anywhere in the world, in the UK or?
Another Russo, sorry?
Judge or breeder that you really respect as being a clever, somebody that you admire?
Michael Gatsby.
Yes, absolutely.
Talented judge, breeder, handler. Sometimes I watch where I haven't seen him judge it, showing dogs and all. Well, 1 year now, I seen anybody, but the way the dogs love him, I think Jeff College is another guy that you can see when he's showing a dog that they love him. There are a series of people, successful breeders, interesting to chat with them. I'm sure I forget him because there's so many people through the years I met. I'm sure I'm living away.
I'm sure, but yes.
You caught me by surprise. No, yeah, because I'm sure I'm living people that I really will enjoy.
Yes, it's difficult. So, your funniest or most embarrassing moment as an exhibitor or judge?
You see, you are taking me by surprise because.
How can I take you by surprise? You got the questions in advance.
Yes, you should have, because I'm sure I had quite a few embarrassing moments. Well, one of my common embarrassing moments are when I'm talking with somebody that actually I don't know the name.
Yes.
Or from where I meet them, and somebody else come and he say, "Hello, Carlos," and I say, "I wonder who you are." And I say, "Oh, hello, I'm very friendly." I say, "Have you met yourself?" No, and I go silent because I don't know the name of anyone. I think it happened more than once. It's an awful situation. You don't know how to run away from it. It happened quite often, I think. Showing, no, I never done my trousers showing or judging. I'm thinking about, no, really. You see, I never drink too much because I don't like to lose control. I mean, that avoid embarrassing, a lot of embarrassing more. If I don't, I'm sure if I drink it more, maybe I will have a lot more embarrassing moments.
And you moved to the UK from Argentina, obviously in '78.
Yeah.
Do you, if you could live in any other country, would you like to go back to Argentina, or would you like to live somewhere else?
I think if to be honest, for convenience, if I move from the UK, the only country I will go will be to Argentina, because obviously it will. I mean, my age, it will be easier. No, when you are young, you are ready to start knowing people, with friends. At my age, if I go to Argentina, I got family, I got still a few friends alive. Less and less every time I go, we have few to meet. But there could be other countries where I could have considered to live. Australia at one time, I thought I could live here, but after I thought, well, if I come from one end of the world to go to the other end of the world, it's a bit ridiculous. I love Ireland, I love Scotland, but the weather, no matter, I don't care about the rain, but when it continues, no? I live in the southeast of England, and we got plenty of sun, plenty of ice, but otherwise, I think Italy is a beautiful country, but
Agreed.
I had too many Italian people in Argentina, and for some reason I left Argentina. Because the Latin, I am very good to keep in times and all that, and I don't. I clash a lot with Argentinian people and with all Spanish people, all all the mañana, all that sort of thing that don't fit me. No, it's personal.
Well, before I move on to our last question, I'll just give you some of the people that have been saying hello to you. Anthony Kelly from
I know
south of Ireland says hello. He says Michael Forte, your good friend, who you've just mentioned. Elizabeth Caminad Laval says hello. Eddie Patterson, Jane Haywood, Ger Cox, who you will know from Limerick.
Yeah, that's right. Laura and yeah.
Yeah. Anne Ingram obviously has been watching. Jimmy Burns. Now there's Joyce O'Connor says hello.
All right. You will say hello for me and all of them, no? Because
Jose Duval says he misses your conversations when you're away judging.
Who?
Jose Duval.
Jose Duval, I can say that.
Yeah. So you have many comments and many good wishes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very happy to see you. So, if you could write your epitaph, what would it be?
The questions you asked me there, maybe, I never considered that sort of things. It never crossed my mind. I would say maybe. No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Yeah.
You should have asked me before I would have filmed Pierre Lay, Carlos Saevich, an honest, trying to have fun guy.
We'll accept that.
Yeah.
Carlos, it's been brilliant.
Thank you very much.
It's been so enjoyable that this is probably one of my longest interviews.
Was it?
Yes, so it's been very enjoyable. A lot of people have been watching. A lot of people have enjoyed it. I want to thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. I always enjoy chatting.
Stay safe.
I have the one here. He's the helper with the computer, and he knows a lot.
Too much.
Yeah. Stay safe, Carlos.
Thank you very much, and you take care.
Get your vaccine as soon as possible so you can go to Argentina.
Sorry?
I say get your vaccine as soon as possible.
Oh, yes.
So you can go to Argentina.
Just before, yes, the 9th of April. I'm looking forward to finish with that, being careful and watching my hands and all that.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next week again, where I'm hopefully will be interviewing somebody from Ireland this time. Carlos, good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And hopefully we will see you soon.
On and on.